Hello and welcome. This is another episode of Stylish and Sustainable, and you are listening to Sabrina. I'm your host. I'm so glad that you found time to sit down this week and listen. We are going to be diving into a really exciting and sort of short but very, very detailed topic on the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, chatting a little bit about pesticides, what organic technically means, and how to eat organic on your budget while still trying to be nice to the planet. So, without any further ado, let's dive in. Alright, before we dive into talking about the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen, let's just focus on organic first. If we go to organic.org, which is a nonprofit organization that helps to spread information about the organic certification process, they would define organic food as being produced without using conventional pesticides, fertilizers made with synthetic ingredients, or sewage sludge. There's also no bioengineering or ionizing radiation involved in growing organic produce. As far as organic meat, poultry, eggs, and dairy products that are certified organic come from animals that are not given antibiotics or growth hormones. Notice that organic meat is not certified humane, nor does it mean that the meat that you're eating is free range or able to go outside for extended periods of time. So it's always important, as a side note, when you're buying organic meat, to also ensure that it's certified humane or that it's free range or grass-fed. Alright, so we've got the organic definition under locks. Organic is no pesticides, no nasty fertilizers, no icky sewage sludge, and no bioengineering, so no GMOs. Okay, so let's talk about what happens when there is pesticides. So non-organic food is often sprayed with fertilizers and pesticides. You don't have to have read Silent Spring by Rachel Carson to know that pesticides are really bad. Pesticides and insecticides are dangerous, not only for the environment, but also for our bodies. Pesticides have been linked to just an insane number of weird stuff. Short-term impacts can be things like headaches, nausea, burning in the eyes, dizziness, blurred vision, contracted pupils, swelling, sweating, a whole bunch of weird, abnormal side effects. Most of the people that are experiencing these short-term side effects are people working in the fields that are coming in direct contact and then feeling a full force of them. Long-range side effects can be things like cancer, reproductive harm, endocrine disruption. Those are really extreme issues, and those are the kind of issues that occur as a side effect of buildup in our system over a long period of time from eating conventionally grown produce or being exposed to meat that's been treated with antibiotics. It's important to know that the people being exposed to these things directly suffer from even higher risk for cancer, reproductive failure and harm, and endocrine disruption. So just keeping in mind the social justice side of organic farms is really an important aspect of what it means to be organic. Focusing back on pesticides. So pesticides are nasty, and it's not a joke, and it's not like pesticides could or could not be this. It is widely accepted that pesticides cause extreme harm on our bodies, especially when we are exposed to them acutely as a worker on a farm and as they compound in our system from eating non-organic produce over a long period of time. I won't go into really deeply what pesticides, insecticides, and fertilizers do for the environment, but let's suffice to say that when you kill off things that are naturally occurring and should be in a habitat or ecosystem in mass amounts, you upset the system severely. By killing insects that also help to control other insects, you offset the balance. By adding a ton of fertilizer that causes downstream eutrophication, which we've talked about, and other issues with soil health and fertility, you can cause some real serious issues in the long term. Theoretically, organic is supposed to help and preserve soil health, but there's a huge discussion about whether or not that's the reality at a lot of organic farms, because a lot of excessive tillage can also lead to lower soil fertility. But this is not a podcast on the agricultural benefits of soil health and how that corresponds with being organic. Today, we're just going to focus on what organic means for our bodies specifically. So moving forward, we would all love knowing that pesticides are really bad for us and that eating organic is good for us, to just eat organic all of the time, right? However, we also all know that eating organic can be kind of expensive sometimes, and it can definitely be cost prohibitive. So thankfully, the Environmental Working Group updates its Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen list every year and lets us know which fruits and vegetables have higher amounts of pesticides when grown conventionally in the matter itself that we ingest, and which ones have lower amounts. Before I dive into explaining what 2019's Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 are, I think it's important to know a general rule because it can be really hard to memorize the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen every year. From what I've found, for the most part, plants and produce that have thick skins where the pesticide is not going to be able to penetrate the matter that you're eating directly will have smaller amounts of pesticide per bite. However, fruits and vegetables that are exposed where you're eating really what's having direct contact with the pesticide, so great examples are berries or leafy greens, those are going to have really, really high percentages of pesticides per bite because there's nothing really stopping the pesticides from soaking into the plant matter. Do know that if something is grown conventionally, there is probably going to be pesticides in it no matter what because it's being sprayed on the soil and the plant is soaking up everything that's in the soil and it's being expressed in the plant matter itself that grows from the soil that's been contaminated by pesticides or fertilizers or insecticides, which are a type of pesticide. But if you're trying to cut costs in some places, but you want to still be healthy and to avoid pesticides as much as you can, the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen are the way to go. So let's dive into the 2019 Dirty Dozen. The top of the list is almost always berries, and this year strawberries is number 1. Then, like I said, the leafy greens come in. Number 2 is spinach, and number 3 is kale. Number 4 are nectarines, so think very thin skin you bite right into, the part that's exposed to the insecticide or pesticide. Number 5 is apples. Number 6, grapes. Number 7, peaches. 8 is cherries. 9 is pears. 10 is tomatoes. 11 is celery. And 12 is potatoes. So those are all the different types of food and produce that are exposed to or that contain the highest amount of insecticides or pesticides per bite. I will say this is the first time in a while that I haven't seen raspberries on there, which is exciting. But kale, this is the first year that kale is on the Dirty Dozen list. So I'll just read through that one more time. Number 1 is strawberries. Number 2 is spinach. Number 3 is kale. Number 4 are nectarines. 5 is apples, 6 are grapes, 7 are peaches, 8 are cherries, 9 are pears, 10 are tomatoes, 11 is celery, and 12 is potatoes. Alright, so those are the different produce items that you really should be buying organic because you'll be avoiding most of the pesticides that will be on the conventional products. So those are the items. The Dirty Dozen translate into the items that really are non-negotiable. You have got to buy those things organic or else you're going to be ingesting a lot of pesticides, and pesticides are nasty. So that leads to the Clean 15. The 2019 Clean 15 starts with avocados. It's almost always avocados number 1 because of the really thick skin that surrounds the flesh of the avocado that we eat. 2 is sweet corn. 3 pineapples. 4 frozen sweet peas. Who would have thought? 5 onions. 6 papayas. 7 eggplants. 8 asparagus. 9 kiwis. 10 cabbages. 11 is cauliflower. 12 cantaloupes. 13 is broccoli. 14 is mushrooms, and 15 is honeydew melons. So that essentially translates into the list of produce that you can decide whether or not you should buy organic. Obviously, you always have a choice to buy organic, but what I mean in this situation is that you may be at a lower risk to come into contact with pesticides if you're eating these produce items. So for example, if you come to the grocery store and you definitely have strawberries on your list, you have avocados on your list, you have apples on your list, and you have cantaloupes on your list, you should definitely buy the strawberries and the apples organic, right? Because they're on the Dirty Dozen list, and you know that if they're not grown organically, they're going to have an ton of pesticide on them. However, the avocados and the cantaloupe, you could choose to buy conventional if it's cost prohibitive to buy it organic. So now y'all know, if you didn't already, the 2019 Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen. And I hope this helps you to shop a little bit more thoughtfully and to save some money when you need to. However, I will add that while it's important to buy organic for our bodies, organic agriculture is really good for the planet. Or maybe I should say it's not as bad for the planet as conventional agriculture. So when we can, ideally, if we could all buy organic 24/7, it would be way better for the planet. But when it comes down to our own personally sustainable health, it can be a little bit negotiable. I'll run through the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen on Instagram a couple times, and you can always find it on Google if you need to. If you have any questions about how I make my decision personally to buy organic or not, you can always shoot me a message in the DM on Instagram. Thanks you guys for tuning in for this short episode. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts on this year's Clean 15 or Dirty Dozen. Are any of your favorite vegetables or fruits on the Clean 15 or Dirty Dozen? Let me know on Instagram. Thanks again for listening and for making time to sit down, to get a little bit of knowledge sprinkled in your day, and I hope this inspires you to shop a little bit more thoughtfully. I'll see you next week with a guest that I'm so excited to sit down with. I'm going to be sitting down with Sydney from @ohoney on Instagram. I love this Instagram account so much. It's so inspiring and it is hilarious too. Plus she has amazing outfits and I'm so jealous sometimes of her closet. All right, you guys, you have a great week and I will see you later. Sending good vibes.